I will find you, no matter how long, no matter how far. The Last of the Mohicans was not just a sweeping frontier adventure, it was a brutal test of endurance that pushed cast and crew into mud-smoked cliffs and danger that few productions ever dare to face. It was not simply a love story born in war, it was a fight for authenticity under conditions that cracked call sheets, broke gear, and nearly broke spirits. Today we reveal 20 strange, dangerous, and unbelievable truths that forged this legendary film. Fact number 20. The cast undergoes intense wilderness training that breaks modern instincts. Before cameras roll, the main cast enters a punishing wilderness training regime led by military instructors and survival experts. It is not a workshop, it is a complete rewiring of how they move, breathe, and navigate terrain. They march long distances over brutal slopes, they chop wood, they build fires, they learn to track footsteps in mud and leaves. The goal is simple: destroy any trace of modern posture and replace it with frontier instinct. What audiences did not know is that several actors nearly quit during the first week. Sore muscles swell, blisters tear, hunger gnaws at patience. But something remarkable happens. The hardship builds unity. By the time filming begins, the performers carry muskets like extensions of their arms and walk through forest paths as if born to them. Their bodies shift into the rhythm of another century. The authenticity on screen grows from pain and endurance, not imagination. Fact number 19. Daniel Day-Lewis lives as a real woodsman throughout the shoot. Daniel Day. Lewis refuses to portray Hawkeye as a character. He chooses to become him. Day-Lewis hunts with real flintlock rifles. He keeps a handmade knife on his belt at all times. He sleeps on rough bedding. He paddles canoes through cold rivers without stunt doubles. His transformation is not immersive. It is absolute. What audiences did not know is that his commitment unsettles the rest of the production. Crew members occasionally lose track of him, only to find him deep in the woods, studying trails or silently observing animals. He demands to craft his own tools. He sharpens blades by lantern light. He avoids modern transportation and chooses to travel miles on foot. Many fear he is pushing himself to collapse, but he never breaks. His presence shapes the film. When Hawkeye moves through the wilderness, the realism is not performance, it is lived experience. Fact number 18. The final cliff sequence nearly stops production due to real danger. The towering cliffs seen in the climax appear majestic and controlled. In truth, they are unstable and unpredictable. Loose stones break under boots. Wind gusts strike without warning. Equipment must be chained to the ground. Safety teams remain on constant alert. Every shot is a risk. What audiences did not know is that several takes halt suddenly when rocks fall near camera crews. At one point, a section of the ridge becomes unsafe after a nighttime storm loosens part of the slope. The team spends hours carving safer paths into the rock with hand tools. Michael Mann refuses to relocate. He believes the danger gives the sequence its soul. The actors feel genuine fear as they move along narrow edges. Every step becomes a calculated act of survival. The climactic tension that grips the film arises from conditions so real that even seasoned stunt performers feel shaken. Fact number 17. The famous war chants are recorded in a forest clearing with unpredictable acoustics. The haunting Mohican chants in the film are not created in a studio. They are recorded outdoors in a clearing surrounded by tall trees. Instead of clean echoes, the forest twists the sound into strange harmonics and ghostly undertones. The atmosphere becomes a natural amplifier that no sound booth could replicate. What audiences did not know is that the sound team becomes startled when their equipment begins capturing faint tonal layers that no one expects. The forest blends the voices into vibrating waves that shift with the wind. Some crew members describe the session as spiritual and unsettling. Others feel the ground itself humming beneath their feet. The raw audio is kept almost untouched. This choice gives the chants their eerie pulse. They do not sound designed, they sound awakened. The forest leaves fingerprints on every note. Fact number 16. A brutal heat wave leads to multiple on-set collapses. Battle scenes require hundreds of extras in wool military coats and heavy gear. When a heat wave strikes the filming location, temperatures soar past dangerous levels. Costumes trap body heat like ovens, sweat drenches fabric. Dust fills the air. It is not discomfort. It is survival through extreme conditions. What audiences did not know is that medics treat multiple cases of heat exhaustion. Extras faint. Cast members grow dizzy. Crew members drape wet cloth over equipment to prevent overheating. Michael Mann must decide whether to halt production or try to capture the battlefield energy before the light disappears. The team pushes on, but the heat reshapes the action. Movements become slower, rawer, and more desperate. The exhaustion you see on screen is not acting. It is the reality of bodies pushed beyond safe limits. The heat wave becomes part of the story etched into every frame. Fact number 15. The river escape scene turns into a near disaster for the camera crew. The river escape sequence looks thrilling and fluid on screen, but the water conditions during filming are brutal. Currents surge faster than predicted. Rocks hide beneath the surface like traps waiting to strike boots and camera rigs. Safety boats drift out of position as the river grows more restless with every take. It is not controlled action. It is a fight against nature. What audiences did not know is that a camera operator is nearly swept downstream after losing his footing. Stunt swimmers pull him back, just in time. Heavy equipment fogs and malfunctions from constant splashes. A dolly track built near the shore sinks into mud as the riverbank softens. Several lenses are ruined, but Michael Mann refuses to fake the scene in calm water. The danger becomes part of its rhythm. Every frantic splash that appears in the final cut carries the energy of a crew battling a wild river, not a studio tank. Fact number 14. The makeup department faces an impossible fight against humidity. Humidity inside the forest becomes an enemy no one predicts. Makeup melts within minutes, pigment runs down faces, prosthetics slip along sweat-soaked skin, hairpieces frizz and warp, makeup artists rush into frame between takes with desperate speed. It is not standard maintenance. It is emergency repair carried out all day long. What audiences did not know is that some actors require 3 complete makeup resets before midday. The smallest fight scene destroys hours of detail in seconds. Even powder refuses to settle on damp skin. The team invents quick drying mixtures on the fly to keep up with the pace Michael Mann demands. The struggle ironically improves the realism. Imperfections remain, smudges stay, sweat lines carve themselves naturally. The film gains a rugged authenticity because nothing stays polished. Every makeup challenge adds another layer of lived-in grit to the world you see on screen. Fact number 13. The music team composes under relentless last-minute pressure. The film's score becomes iconic, yet the process behind it is chaos. As Michael Mann reshapes scenes late into editing, deadlines shrink. New cuts arrive overnight, forcing composers to rewrite themes without rest. It is not creativity. It is crisis-driven composition. What audiences did not know is that at one point, the music team divides into shifts that run nearly 24 hours. One group writes new melodies while another group orchestrates revised versions of older cues. Exhaustion becomes constant. Some notes are written before the final footage even arrives because time is running out. But the pressure creates energy. The urgency drives the heartbeat rhythm and soaring strings that define the film. The music feels alive because it is born from the tension of artists working at the breaking point. The score becomes a legend shaped by relentless demand, not leisurely inspiration. Fact number 12. The Fort William Henry. Set requires emergency engineering to prevent collapse. The imposing fort looks strong on screen, but in reality the structure sits on uneven ground that shifts daily. Walls creak under weight, platforms sink. Construction crews scramble to reinforce beams that bend under heat and moisture. It is not a sturdy set, it is a fragile shell struggling to stay upright. What audiences did not know is that hidden supports must be added beneath walkways hours before filming certain scenes. Sections of the fort collapse overnight and must be rebuilt by morning. The art department hides metal braces inside wooden frames to maintain the illusion of solid walls. The fort becomes a living puzzle, constantly repaired and re-strengthened. Its instability unknowingly enhances the film. When soldiers march across vibrating platforms or lean against trembling beams, it becomes part of the atmosphere. The fort is not just a location, it is a character, fighting to survive the shoot. Fact number 11, an extra is injured during bayonet practice and production shuts down. War sequences require careful rehearsal. Yet during one crowded bayonet drill, a performer missteps and is struck in the ribs by a blunt prop. The injury is not severe, but it halts production instantly. Medics treat the wounded extra while tension spreads across the field. It is not a minor mishap, it is a wake-up call. What audiences did not know is that Michael Mann orders a complete retraining session for all extras before filming resumes. Every movement is broken down, every formation is corrected, extras repeat slow-motion drills under the blazing sun, learning discipline through repetition. Many feel frustrated, others feel shaken, but the reset pays off. When cameras roll again, the formations look tighter and more convincing. The near injury becomes the turning point that sharpens the film's battle sequences and elevates their realism far beyond standard choreography. Fact number 10, Michael Mann's demand for accuracy pushes the crew to the edge. Michael Mann is known for precision, but this film pushes everyone past their limit. He demands real musket loading technique in every scene, even when it is never seen on camera. He orders repeated takes until the rhythm feels historically perfect. Crew members call these days man endurance trials. Lighting teams rush before the sun shifts. Armor crews repair buckles worn out by constant action. Tension builds, but the realism created by this pressure becomes unforgettable. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because the next facts reveal how far this production really goes. Fact number 9, weather disasters overturn the schedule again and again. The Carolina wilderness becomes the production's unpredictable enemy. Storms crash across set without warning, turning clear fields into mud pits. Mist crawls across the landscape and destroys hours of lighting preparation. High winds rip through tents and scatter gear across the forest floor. The schedule does not bend, it shatters. Crew members create 2 different call sheets each morning because the weather decides everything. The chaos becomes a secret advantage. The unstable environment gives scenes a raw, unsettled energy that no planned design can match. Nature becomes a hidden actor shaping the film with real, wild force. Fact number 8, a historical consultant forces a complete scene rewrite. During the filming of a key negotiation sequence, a historical consultant steps in and challenges the accuracy of the dialogue. His objection is firm. He argues that the scene breaks real military protocol. Michael Mann stops filming instantly. Tension rises. Cast and crew wait under heat as new pages are drafted on set. The debate between drama and accuracy lasts hours. Mann finally rebuilds the scene with correct historical practice while keeping emotional weight intact. The rewritten moment becomes one of the strongest scenes because it blends authenticity with cinematic intensity, born from real conflict behind the camera. Fact number 7, the musket sound. Effects come from dangerous real test firings. The sound team records live black powder musket shots to capture authentic battlefield thunder. These weapons are unpredictable. Blasts roar louder than expected. Smoke blinds the field. Burning residue ignites dry leaves and sends technicians scrambling. Several microphones pick up distorted echoes as wind shifts the sound. Multiple tests must be repeated in new spots because the air grows too thick with smoke. The results are worth the danger. The muskets in the film sound heavy, violent, and real because the recordings come from true explosive force, not safe studio simulations. Fact number 6. Camera operators climb unstable cliff paths to capture sweeping shots. The sweeping ridge shots that define the film do not come from cranes. They come from crew members climbing unstable cliff paths with heavy cameras strapped to their bodies. Loose stones slide beneath their boots. Safety lines strain under shifting weight. At one point, an operator slips but is saved by his harness. The scare shakes the entire team. Still, they return to the heights because Michael Mann wants the frontier to feel vast and real. The breathtaking views are earned through grit, fear, and human endurance on dangerous rock, not artificial angles or digital tricks. Fact number 5. The smoke effects overwhelm the battlefield. Battle scenes rely on real smoke pots placed across the field. When the wind shifts, the smoke becomes a wall of blindness. Extras lose direction. Camera operators shout to locate actors. The haze grows so dense that medics step in with water and breathing cloths. Michael Mann refuses to remove the effect because it looks brutally authentic. The accidents create haunting visuals where Soldiers appear and vanish like phantoms. The chaos you see on screen is not cinematic trickery. It is a battlefield swallowed by uncontrolled smoke that turns every shot into raw, unpredictable atmosphere. Fact number 4, the cast endures brutal running scenes on dangerous terrain. The film features long-running sequences across rocks and forest trails. These scenes look smooth and heroic, but they punish the cast. Roots snag boots, wet stones turn into traps. Daniel Day-Lewis runs with relentless intensity through every take. Several actors sprain ankles. One performer crashes so hard on a hidden root that the sound team hears it. The terrain becomes a physical rival. The desperation seen in the final footage is real. Because the cast is not acting exhaustion, they are battling the land with each sprint and every stumble. Fact number 3. The scalping effects require shockingly realistic practical work. The scalping shots are brief but disturbing. The makeup team tests layers of latex and silicone, but none tear convincingly. After long experimentation, they develop a mix of gelatin fibers and adhesive that peels with a sickening ripple. During rehearsal, the effect shocks even veteran crew members and unsettles the actors involved. Michael Mann adjusts camera framing so the realism does not overpower the scene. The chilling moment you see is not digital and not exaggerated. It is a handcrafted prosthetic designed to mimic brutal reality with unsettling accuracy. Fact number 2, indigenous performers shape the authenticity of key scenes. Indigenous actors bring cultural depth that transforms the film. They guide movement, posture, and ceremonial gestures. They correct weapon technique and refine emotional moments. Their insight becomes essential. During one scene, an actor explains that a gesture carries a different cultural meaning than written. Production halts. Michael Mann listens and revises the staging on the spot. The new version becomes far more grounded and respectful. Their presence reshapes dialogue blocking and even pacing. The authenticity felt throughout the film comes directly from these performers who ensure the story honors the cultures it portrays. Fact number 1. The final chase is filmed in a desperate race against sunlight. The final cliff pursuit feels urgent because it is filmed under real-time pressure. The location receives only a short window of usable light. Every take risks losing the entire day. Actors sprint uphill breathless and exhausted. Camera teams race along steep paths to reset angles before shadows swallow the ridge. The urgency becomes real tension. What appears as intense emotional pacing is actually a crew battling fading daylight. The desperate energy captured on screen reflects the countdown behind the camera. Bonus fact: an alternate darker score was recorded and then locked away. Few know that composers create a second version of the score. This hidden cut features deeper drums, haunting strings, and experimental vocals. It carries a darker tone that changes the film's emotional center. Michael Mann listens and decides it shifts the story too far from its spirit. The alternate score is archived and never released. Only a handful of crew members ever hear it. It becomes a quiet legend, a shadow version of Mohicans that exists only behind studio doors, a musical path abandoned yet still alive in whispers among those who worked on the film.